concrete walls. There's a place for us where we could go, where we could be alone. Between city lights, we don't have to hide. I wanna go, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? I can't understand why we can't hold hands, but they don't know what we have is real love. Aren't you sick and tired of having to hide? I know a place, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow?
What's up, you guys? I know what you're looking at. I know what you're looking at while the music's playing. You're looking at the dust on the desk behind the monitors and stuff. I know. Oh, you're not gonna get me. Ever since I got this new desk, I've been keeping it dusted. You guys remember the old desk? Some of you do. Oh, yeah. File this under things you won't see Botgrinder do on his stream. Oh, he'll do a lot of things. Oh, you never seen him dust his desk though. Guarantee. I guarantee. You show me a timestamp of Botgrinder dusting his desk, and no, brushing like shake off the desk. That doesn't count. That's not the same. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome everyone to the live stream. I'm doing a little better today. I'm doing a little better. For those of you who were here yesterday and were suffered through my coughing, I'm doing a little better. A little bit of improvement. Hopefully that will continue. But we're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this together. Welcome to the live stream. It's Monday night. Hey, welcome back. This is my my Monday night stream is for the Western Americans, Canadians, I guess, South Americans, people in this time zone. My Sunday stream is for the Europeans, people in other time zones, theoretically. And so this could be your first. Welcome back to the first American stream since I went away. I'm never leaving again for the record. No, I'll probably... Actually, I'm leaving... I'm leaving this weekend. Damn it. Damn it. I'm going to Mindfield, Ken Heron's event. If you're able to make it. I assume that there's no tickets or anything. I don't know. Where is it? I'm going to be going to this event. It's a free event open to all RC flyers. So, you know, if you are within traveling distance of Brownsville, Tennessee, 38012, then this Saturday, come on out. I will see. Here I am right on the website. I'll be there. All kinds of shit you can fly. And, you know. Oh, registered attendees will gain access to the raffle. I should probably register for entry. I don't think I'm going to do this. I definitely am not signing any disclaimer. Signed copies required for all attendees. Uh-oh. I am not doing anything that would limit my right to sue Ken Heron. I don't know what I'm going to sue him for, but I feel like, I mean, let me just put it this way. And I think Ken would agree. I think Ken would agree with this. I'm not talking out of turn. I think if you know Ken Heron, you know that on a long enough timeline, he will do something you need to sue him over. I'm not saying you would sue him. I'm just saying you would have a tort, a cause of action, if you wanted to. And I'm not signing that away. Gregory Hurst hopes that I'm not contagious anymore. Well, I also hope I'm not contagious anymore. I have to say, I got sick on... When did I get sick? Oh, it was like the 30th? It was the 30th was my first day of being sick. So we are currently... We will be 21 days out. We'll be 21 days out from the first day I was sick, which, you know, you decide what you think about that, but I'll probably, like, take a test or something just to be sure. I don't know. Anyway. Welcome to the live stream, everybody. Very good to see you all here. Here's what we're going to do. I am going to take your questions. I'm going to take your questions here. Like this question from Leo Ponce. That's the kind of question I might answer. But we're doing the intro now, so I'm not going to answer it just yet. I'll be taking your questions. I'll be taking questions here in the Discord server. These beautiful people. How do you get on my Discord server? Aber the Ham says, effectively, Aber is a doctor, by the way. If you believe in doctors, Aber says, effectively 0 chance you are still contagious at 21 days. Don't waste your test. But Aber, with that kind of attitude, what will be my excuse for backing out at the last minute? Oh my God, speaking of bot grinder, did you see this unreleased firmware of Walksnail? Yeah, I did. Has bot grinder said anything positive about Walksnail? My goodness. By the way, if you want to make sure I read your message, hit the $ right down here and leave a super chat. Throw a couple bucks at me. That's the other way to get a message read on stream. Yeah, Mr. E. Exactly, Mr. E. That's what I'm talking about. What if Ken Heron flew a quad into your car, the LiPo caught fire, and burns your car? That's the kind of... that's like... I'm not saying that Ken would do that on purpose. I'm just saying that's the kind of thing that might happen if Ken was around. That's all I'm saying. Oh, he only released the video on Patreon. Bot Grinder's video, his new video. I have that firmware. I have a video I'm working on about that, so I'll be releasing my version of it, such as it is. But Bot Grinder has a video on Patreon? How do I get to... No, I don't want my Patreon page. I don't want to be creator. I want to be a patron. Bot Grinder. Let's see here. It's only up on his Patreon. Okay. Not a problem. I am a patron. Oh my God. They sent me a beta firmware. The video speaks for itself. Just cruising around, they fixed all the video issues. Oh. Well, you better be careful. Because, you know, then Mads Tech will release a video saying it sucks. Oh. I probably shouldn't play his patron-only video on my live stream. Oh, no. Look what I'm doing. Oh, pirating. I'm pirating. Oh, man. Great. I get an F-word dropped. I get an F-bomb dropped on my stream as thanks. Yeah. I've done some test flying of this new firmware, and I got to tell you, I'm a little gun-shy. I thought the last firmware release was very good and was a big improvement, and I released a video saying such. Oh, there's Bot Grinder. He's here in the chat. I released a video saying such, and then Mads Tech released a video saying, I didn't like it. I was like, well, shoot. And also, I'm just a little bit tired. He says, please don't play my patron-only video. Okay, but you can't play that rip of flow state that I know you copied. Yeah, I'm a little gun-shy, to tell you the truth, because every time I say something good, the haters come and say that I'm just shilling because apparently I love Drew Camden that much. And it just, I don't know. I shouldn't let it get to me, but it is kind of annoying. So I probably just will release it, and I won't say anything sensational like, oh my God, it's so much better. I probably will just release it and be like, here it is, you decide. I don't know. Why did I change the title of my last Walksnail upload, Pacific Northwest Pilots? Pacific Northwest, the last Walksnail, I flew the last firmware, which is the current public firmware. I flew it all weekend, literally the whole Rotor Riot weekend, like 3 days of flying, and, you know, and I flew it, and I was like, this is really decent. Like, I didn't think it was necessarily like better than DJI maybe, but I flew it, and at no point did I have any complaints where I was like, oh, this is kind of gross. And I released a video, and the title was something like, it's finally worth switching to, which is to say, if you wanted to switch before, I would be like, no, it's not worth it, don't do it. But if you want to switch today, then there, you know, there's no major issues. I'm happy with it. And then Mads Tech released a video saying, oh my God, it's terrible. And I was like, well, shoot. I mean, I respect Mads Tech's experience. I respect his opinion. And if he says it's terrible, and I looked at his video and I agree, his video didn't look good. So I was like, well, clearly there's more to the picture. And I changed the title to something more neutral because I don't want to steer people the wrong way. So, 661FPV, you probably didn't find flow state on a bootleg website. You probably found it on plex.tv, which is official. So, I'll have a video coming out soon with the new firmware, and we'll see what's going on. But it looked pretty good to me. The last one looked pretty good to me, though. So, what do I know? Yeah. Here's the thing, and Bot Grinder, because Bot Grinder is here in the chat, I had this thought. And Bot Grinder, you're here in the chat, so I can share this thought, and it won't be like I'm talking shit about you behind your back. I'll talk shit about you to your face. But this is a complaint about YouTube commenters, not about Bot Grinder. So I come out and I say, I think this firmware is really good, or I think this technology, I am positive on some. Like, I've been mixed. I think I've been 53% positive on Walksnail while still being realistic about the flaws and pointing them out. But some people have been like, well, you're biased. You can't be honest. You're friends with Drew Camden. You do episodes with Rotor Riot. There's no way that you could be honest. I don't think you're honest about this. Okay. That's annoying, but okay. I see why you think that. That's not a crazy thing to think. I don't like it. I don't agree. But it's not a crazy thing to think. Botgrinder, he releases a video and he shits all over the system. And people go down to his comments and they say, "Oh man, you're keeping it real. You're keeping it so real. You're the only one here that's honest." Botgrinder used to work for Rotor Riot. And he left that job under, I'm not trying to stir it up again, but under not so friendly situation. Not so happy. Why does nobody go to Botgrinder's comments and go, "You're biased"? What? You're biased. If I'm biased because I'm friends with Drew and I appear in Rotor Riot episodes, then he's biased because he got fired by Rotor Riot, or however you want to frame it. But everybody notices the first one. My point is, when you're positive, people are quick to call you a shill. But when you're negative, people are quick to be like, "Yeah, you're keeping it real." What's up, YouTube commenters? You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. This is my point. Okay. Because people want justification of their biases, and I give it to them. Yeah. Or maybe everybody has some biases, and everybody's kind of keeping it real at the same time. Anyway. Yeah, exactly, Botgrinder. I agree. The only thing you can really do is be as transparent as possible about the things that might affect your opinion, and try to do the best you can. I just had that thought, and I wasn't going to share it. Because I didn't want anybody to think I was talking shit about Botgrinder, but since he's here, when you're negative, people are like, "Yeah, you're the only one who's keeping it real." Well, there are positive things to say. And if you're not saying them, are you really keeping it real? Anyway. Anyway. Leo Ponce, sticking with this question. What would you say is the best value stack for a 5-inch quad that can actually be purchased? It's impossible to answer that question, Leo. Pardon me. Hold on one second. It's impossible to answer that question, Leo. Because nothing is reliably in stock today. Nothing. So whatever I point you towards, it may or may not be in stock. Good luck. Just find whatever you can find. And nothing is a good value. Nothing's a good value. Everything is expensive as shit. Let's do this. Let me show you this. I showed this on yesterday's stream. Maybe some of you guys didn't see it. This website is searchfpv.com. Searchfpv.com. I guess it's in beta now because I am telling you about it at all. It searches multiple stores, and we can search for in-stock items only, or we can search for anything. Diatone Mamba F405. That used to be a great budget stack. Let's see if it comes up with anything. $93. Oh my God. Diatone Mamba Basic, $87 in stock at Get FPV. That's not bad. That's where we're at today. Diatone Mamba Mark II, out of stock. Mark IV F405. Here's a $46 flight controller, no ESC. Out of stock, out of stock, out of stock. Did I say in stock only? In stock only. How about Diatone Mamba Basic? Oh, no, no, no. That's for a flight controller and ESC. That's what we're at, man. That's what stuff costs these days because of whatever. Zipper Lips FPV noticing that Pyrodrone is missing. So here's the deal, guys. Don't see your favorite store here? We welcome any store willing to include us in its affiliate program. This website costs money to make. It costs money to run. The guy who coded this has a lot of hours in it. And I said to him, I said, this is a great idea. Let's work on it together. And, you know, we want to make money on it, right? So we're only including stores that put us in the affiliate program. And at this time, Pyro has not elected to do that. I don't want to act like I'm calling them out. I don't want to act like I am a Pyrodrone affiliate. I have a great relation. I think I have a great relationship. I don't even have to ask Serge what he thinks. And I very, very much want them to be included. At this time, they have not decided to be included, and that's. But I don't want anybody to think we're specifically excluding them, because they are one of the. I think they're probably one of the 3 biggest FPV stores in the USA, at least, and they definitely should be on here. But there you go. So let's see. What about the Mamba Basic? In stock only. Mamba Basic flight controller. How about we add stack? Mamba Basic stack. Okay. $87. I think you're going to struggle to do a lot better than that. In stock only. Let's see here. $58.99. Oh, that's just the flight controller though, not the stack. Yeah. I don't know why we're seeing motors here, but okay. Mamba Mark IV. No. $80. That's where you're at, my friend. That's where you're at. 80 or 90 bucks for a Mamba Basic. That's the budget, and it's in stock. But I want to pass this to you guys. If you guys, this website is still just developing, and it's going to get better as more stores join up and we take your suggestions. But I want to get it out there so you guys can start using it. If you want to search for products, give this a try. It gives you the price, and you can search for in stock only, and you can choose specific stores if you want to search only specific stores. And hopefully it helps you find the products you're looking for. Joseph, the server is maintaining a database. It is not polling. We're not just destroying these stores' websites every time you hit search. The way it works, basically, without getting into too much detail, is that on the back end, it scrapes the sites every so often in a smart way that doesn't overwhelm them with data. And then it stores the results in a database so that when you do the search... So it's possible that the in-stock is... Like, if they sold out an hour ago and we scraped the site yesterday or this morning... It's possible that the in-stock would not be correct, but we definitely wanted to be polite and not just just destroy the store's website with traffic. So there you go. Praxis Gamer wants to know, how come my Mobula 6 won't bind with my TX16S. I've got the right protocol set. I do put the Mobula 6 in bind mode, but it won't connect. Well, Praxis Gamer, my guess is you don't have the right RX protocol set on the model. Praxis Gamer, first of all, what receiver is on the Mobula 6? That's the first question. And then second, what protocol is set in the model? Those are the two questions we gotta answer. Tanis W in the Discord asks, is it normal that my friend's HX115LR reaches around 80 degrees Celsius during flight? Some flight controllers run hot. There isn't a lot you can do about it, and it's usually not a problem. So I wouldn't worry about it. There's two things here. Either it's a problem or it's not a problem. If there is a problem, there isn't much you can do about it. So either way, it's not really worth worrying about. It's usually not a problem, though. If you've done something weird, like you've encased the flight controller with, something that would make it get hot, that's a different story. But some flight controllers just run hot, and I don't really know why. Praxis, I'm still keeping an eye out for your answering my question if you get around to it. Alexander Seidler wants to know, where can I find more information about the Portland FPV park I keep seeing on Rotorite? Alexander, I don't know how public the owner of that property wants to be. So he has commented on Rotorite videos. He comments in the comments section, and he is active in the Facebook group. So you can find him there, and you can talk to him in the comments, and he'll reply if he wants to. It's private property. It's his home. And so I don't know what is involved in getting to meet him and getting to fly there. But I don't want to just put his contact info out there for everybody to blast him in case that he would not welcome that attention. He might. He seemed like a nice guy, but I don't want to put him on blast without checking with him first. Okay. Still don't see an answer from Praxis about the receiver. Let's see here. Everybody's wanting to know what my headphones are. They are Audio-Technica ATH M40. Audio-Technica ATH M40. Audio-Technica makes great studio headphones. Very flat frequency response, good for mixing. And that's what I go for. I don't want to listen to music. I want an accurate frequency response. Let's see here. I cannot scroll back in my super chats, and I don't know why. That's weird. Should I reload the page? I hope the super chats don't go away. Let me read the super chats that I can see, just in case they go away. Carbon Cage FPV, FreeSky D will bind to the Mobula 6. Yeah, but we don't know that he has a FreeSky receiver. He could have Express LRS. And if it's a FreeSky SPI receiver, he could have it set to any number of different modes. Let's get these super chats read. Joshua Bardwell, attorney, a joke account here. Thank you for a $2 super chat. I'm getting letters of desist from Bot's attorney. Yeah, because I almost played his Patreon video on my stream. I wouldn't do that, Bot Grinder. Evan Wynn, thank you for a $10 super chat. I was just in Colorado and everything was a no-fly zone unless you had at Part 107 with pre-approval. How hard is it to get approval and fly in these areas? Evan Wynn, I have no idea. So first of all, let me just be really clear. It is not legal for anyone except the FAA to define a no-fly zone. The FAA's position is that regulation of the airspace is solely the province of the FAA, the federal government. What local governments can do is prohibit taking off and landing, which effectively turns it into a no-fly zone. But I feel that distinction is important to make and is often overlooked. So let's say no-fly zone means no takeoff, no landing zone. At that point, it is entirely up to whoever has the authority to define the no takeoff, no landing, no fly zone. And how hard is it to get approval? I have no idea. Because who defined that? Is it the Colorado Parks Department? Is it the Colorado... Who did it? We don't know. And without knowing who did it, like, there's a park here in Knoxville that the administrator of the park has decided that they don't want drones in the park. Before this person became the administrator of the park, we used to go there and fly all the time. It was no big deal. Nobody hassled us. And ever since this person came in, if they see somebody flying, they tell them they don't want them to do that, and they tell them not to do it. And then they tell them to leave if they don't stop. What's involved in getting permission to fly? I don't know. As far as I can tell, you can't do it now. And it just depends entirely on whoever decided you can't do it. So I can't speak to Colorado. And I'm going to guess that the entire state of Colorado probably doesn't have the same rules. It's probably city by city or county by county. Quad City Bay Area, thank you for a $5 super chat. Is there a real reason for remote ID? Have there been accidents or something? I'll say this. The purported motivation for remote ID, which is to improve the safety and security and privacy of the skies or whatever the hell they say it is not really served by the rule that was passed, as is often the case, not always, but as is often the case with regulations and stuff like this. The regulation pushes the bounds of privacy back. It intrudes, shall we say, on people's privacy, and is relatively easy to circumvent by bad actors. And so then you could ask the question, who is actually going to be served by this? And the answer to that is some people. Because here's the thing. You see this argument in other areas of regulation that are very, very hot button topics that I'm not going to get into, and I'd rather you didn't get into them. But people say the fact that a bad actor could easily circumvent this rule means that the rule is pointless. The rule only applies to people who are going to be good actors to begin with, and therefore it's pointless. That argument is dumb, because it presumes that each person is either a good actor forever or a willful bad actor. And the truth is, most people who are bad actors didn't wake up that morning as a bad actor. They became a bad actor through bad judgment or by accident. So it's like saying, it would be like if you said, there's no point in having license plates on cars because they only catch criminals anyway. And, people who are going to rob banks will just take their people who are going to street race and rob banks will just take the license plates off the cars. So license plates they're pointless. Well, that's dumb. Lots of people break the law with license plates on their cars. And by the same token, lots of people will violate no-fly zones, let's say, and get caught because they had remote ID on their drone. That will happen. We already know that people have... Remember the time when somebody crashed their drone at McCarran Airport in Vegas and they caught the person because their FAA number was written on the drone? So some people will break the rules and get caught because remote ID exists. But I don't think that's the same as saying that it fully serves the motivation that it's supposed to serve. And I certainly don't think it's the most effective balance between the goal of preventing bad actors and letting people exercise their freedoms responsibly. So that's my take on that. Anyway. I'm not pro or anti anything, Zipper Lips. I just think that your arguments have to make sense. Your arguments have to make sense. And I think the argument that prohibition is pointless because bad actors will always overcome prohibition, that's dumb. That's dumb. That's just not true. It's not true. Like you could look at the opiate epidemic that's going on in the United States. What triggered the opiate epidemic? It was mass prescription of prescription opiates, among other things, I'm sure. So what that tells us is that prohibition of drugs meant that fewer people were doing it. And then when they got access to the drugs legally, then they became bad actors. In the context of this argument, someone who is performing an action that's prohibited by the law is the quote-unquote bad actor. I'm not trying to stigmatize addicts as bad people or bad. But so my point is that prohibition does work to some degree. That doesn't mean that prohibition is always right and that it strikes the right balance. But the simple argument that because prohibition can be circumvented, therefore it's pointless, that's a dumb argument, and you're dumb if you make it. I don't think you've thought about it if you're making that argument. Okay. To put it back with remote ID, some people will fly drones without remote ID on them. The worst kind of people who want to commit the worst kind of crimes will definitely not have remote ID. But some people will get caught doing other types of things because of remote ID. So then, does it work? Yeah, anyway. What about flying on your property? Doesn't matter. If you're in the national airspace, the FAA feels that they have jurisdiction over you. If you are on you don't have unrestricted rights to the airspace above your property. You have some right to it, but that right, according to the FAA, does not give you the right to fly. Sub 250 gram does not need remote ID. Let's get a few more super chats out of the way. We've read like 3 super chats. That was a long one, but that's a very nuanced topic. So, Kirk Stuckless, thank you for $5 Canadian. Any tips on growing a local FPV community? Make a Facebook group with your city name FPV racing or something like that. Start a multi-GP chapter, and then just hope people find you, I guess. Anthony DeStefano, thanks for a $5 super chat. How much % difference in battery time for hex props, and what are their advantages? That's impossible for me to generalize, Anthony. I think you mean 6-blade props versus 4-blade props. in general, more props are less efficient and you get less flight time on more props. But in reality, you would also have to play with the motor KV and the throttle output. I can't give you a percentage difference in battery time for 6 blades versus 4 blades. I think the main advantage you see 6 blades and 5 blade props mostly on Cinewhoops. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure why people do that. People who fly Cinewhoops, why do you fly 6 blade props? Is it that you just want more thrust? I mean, more blades on a prop will make more thrust at a lower RPM. Is it just that you want to run the motors at a lower RPM and make more thrust? Because you don't want your props to get bigger because you want your Cinewhoop to stay small, but you need more thrust because the damn thing is heavy. So you add more props. Makes sense. Quad City Bay Area, thank you for a $5 super chat. I think I bricked my Avatar VTX. Doesn't power on anymore. Any thoughts? You got to contact Walksnail. I don't know. So I do know that a later firmware makes it impossible to brick. If you were flashing to that firmware, the current firmware makes it impossible to brick. If you were flashing to that firmware when you bricked it, then that's not going to help you. If it doesn't power on at all, though, doesn't seem like it's bricked. How did you brick it? How did you brick it, man? Kim Fused, thank you for a $10 super chat. Thanks for the signed Blu-ray and the coin. Just received mine today. Very happy to hear that, Kim Fused. Yep, we have shipped almost all of the Flow State DVDs, Blu-rays. We have shipped all of what. There's one order that I still have to go drop in the mailbox. Literally one. All of the others have shipped. There are still a few more at Race Day Quads and Rotorite if you want to pick up the Blu-ray of the film. It is also available currently on Plex.tv, but they show a shitload of ads. So it's your call if you want to watch it there. It'll be on Amazon Prime any day now. Let's see if it's on Amazon Prime yet. Amazon has it marked as ready to go, and I don't know what they're waiting on. Let's check and see if it's available. I haven't checked today. I assume that James would have told me if it was available. Nope. Not yet. Not yet. What if I search for Joshua Bardwell? That's not Prime. That's... Yeah, all right. So not yet. (661FPV), very good question. Why do we move the flow state section of the video to the end? 661FPV, the flow state chapter was originally the final chapter of the movie. If I remember right, it was the Atlanta Fly Day, which was this super feel-good, and that chapter ends with the drones flying off into the sunset, this really feel-good, everybody's having a good time. The drones fly into the sunset, and then it goes to the flow state chapter. When we showed the film at the film festival, we thought that the film needed a stronger, and I say we, James really makes all the editorial decisions, so I should really say I'm used to talking about James and me as partners, but he makes all the editorial decisions, and I just nod and go, seems good. James thought that the film needed a stronger opening and thought the opening was a little bit weak. And so he moved the flow state chapter to the beginning. And it was a very strong opening. But then for the DVD, when we went back to cut the film down from 120 minutes to 90 minutes for the streaming edit, he decided to move it back. I have to say I agree with that decision. I feel like the emotional beat of we have this Atlanta Fly Day, everybody's having a good time, chasing each other. It's just this perfect what FPV is moment, flying till dusk, quads fly into the sunset, and then flow state is such a sublime chapter to go out on. So that's why that was moved. Zipperlips FPV, thank you for a $5 super chat. Thanks for shouting out the Hoda S6. Yes, I got a full review of the Hoda S6 coming soon. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe next day after that. I don't think we ever got the... What was his name? Oh, flip. What was his name? The guy with the tiny whoop who wouldn't bind. I don't think I saw an answer to his question. I feel bad. You can always email me if you want help with that. Yeah. Will I be doing autographs at Mindfield? Sure. Thank you, Pat V, for a $5 super chat. Sure. Absolutely. I'm going to have flow state Blu-rays too, if you want to. If you want to get one. Pat V. Thank you for a $5 super chat. Phantom FPV, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Phantom FPV is putting out some crazy shit lately. He's putting out some crazy shit lately. This guy. Let's find something. Let's see. The Atlanta Grand Slam. Oh my God, we're not going to watch 7 minutes of this. You can go watch it over on his channel. Phantom FPV. Woo, buddy. Now don't tell me you meant to go in there backwards. Okay? Because it looks to me like... I'm not trying to start shit, but... If that was me, I'll say this. If that was me, that would have come up short. I've come up short here and I'm going to miss it. And so I lean back and try not to hit the wall. Boom! You come in backwards. If it was Phantom FPV, he probably did it on purpose. If that was me, that wouldn't have been on purpose. Now we're out of focus because we've been bashing the shit out of our camera. Hit it! Or maybe it's just dark. Yeah. But the real... He's trying to get this. What is that? Shut up! Man. Well, eventually he gets it, but I don't want to ruin the surprise. He's hitting some stuff. I love that spot. I love that spot too. It's a great spot. Kevin, thank you for 10 euros super chat. I've been trying to build my own 3D printed quad for a long time, and it's been hard. Your videos motivated me to keep trying. Oh, Kevin. Please, Kevin, please tell me it's like a 3-inch. If you're trying to build a 3D printed 5-inch, it's just heartache and pain, man. I would never tell you not to follow your dreams, but, oh, it's heartache and pain. Big Data Pimp, thank you for a $5 super chat. The FAA says you cannot use a 107 drone for recreational. No, you have to register it twice if you want to use it personally. Remote ID is required for 107. Big Data Pimp, there's a couple things I want to clarify about this. You are correct that if you want to use the same... First of all, whether a given flight is covered by recreational or Part 107 commercial depends on the nature of the flight, not the drone. Remember that recreational, you register one time and you put the same number on all your drones. 107, you register each drone and you put the number on each drone. So you don't need to register your drones for recreational. You would register yourself. And then at the time of flight, you would decide whether this was a commercial or a recreational flight. You are correct that the current wording of Part 107, for remote ID, essentially prohibits you from self-building a Part 107 drone. However, Dave Messina from the FPV Freedom Coalition says that he and other people had conversations with the FAA where they said that that was not their intent, and he is trying to get them to issue an advisory circular to that effect. I'm actually going to be doing an interview with Dave Messina tomorrow to talk about this. So the two things to take away at this time are, number one, only manufacturers have to comply with remote ID in 2022. Individual people who build their own drones don't have to comply until 2023. So we have another year to work this out, and we don't know, but there's a possibility that that will get fixed via an advisory circular. But we don't know. But you're right, as of today. Any big FPV events in Minnesota, asks Evan Wynn. I don't know about that. Huh. Are you guys saying that Plex.tv can't show flow state? Huh. I don't know about that. Oh. Wow. Well, there you go. Oops. I don't know, man. Plex got to fix their shit. What if I do it in a incognito window? Nope. I don't know. Hopefully they'll fix that. Any big FPV events in Minnesota? Anybody? Anybody? I don't know. Thank you for a $2 super chat. Chitrang Talavia, thank you for a $5 super chat. You don't have to sign in to 3FPV. You didn't used to have to sign in. You didn't used to have to sign in. I'm sure of that. It would just start playing. Let's see. Why can't I sign in with Google? Okay, let's sign in with Facebook. Oh, we're not gonna. Oh my God. Okay, forget it. The Flying Grip says, so a manufacturer in the FAA's eyes is only one of the big companies, not an individual. Flying Grip, anyone can be a manufacturer. Remember that there are three ways to fly a drone under remote ID. One is to fly the drone at a FRIA, an FAA recognized whatever area, FRIA. In that case, the aircraft does not need to broadcast remote ID, but you have to get the location you're flying at approved by the FAA as a FRIA. The second way is a self-built drone with a remote ID module installed on it. And the third way is where the remote ID is built into the drone by the manufacturer. If you decided that you want to be a manufacturer, you could do that, but there are regulatory hoops that you have to jump through that cost money. You would need to show the FAA the design of the drone you were making. You would need to convince the FAA that your drone was compliant. There is a record-keeping requirement where you keep the serial number of all the drones you make on file, yada, yada, yada. So it's not as simple as saying, dear FAA, I'm a manufacturer. Good, we good? It costs money and time, and there's record-keeping requirements and so on. So a company like DJI won't have any problem complying with that. A company like an iFlight or a Diatone probably could, but I doubt they will. A company like oh my god, right? He makes maybe he decides to make a Cinelifter. Maybe. A company like Catalyst Machine Works, maybe I could see it. But an individual could theoretically become a manufacturer, but probably wouldn't. Chitrang Talavia, thank you for a $5 super chat. I'm a firmware engineer. I'm planning to make a drone from scratch. I mainly want to write my own flight code. Can you recommend any kit? I would start by getting either Betaflight or ArduPilot and download the source code. They're open source and study it. Writing your own flight controller from scratch is a massive undertaking. Maybe it would be better to start by modifying existing code, but that's just me. But I would pick either ArduPilot if you want to make an autonomous drone, or Betaflight if you want to make a acro racing drone. Download that code and start studying it. Marcos Gregorio, thank you for a $10 super chat. My Walksnail VTX won't update after I plug it in. Every time I fly, my goggles start beeping because of a failed update. Marcos, if the Walksnail VTX won't update, I can only guess that you're not putting the right file. There's two things I want to suggest. One is maybe you're not putting the right file on the Walksnail VTX, although you did update the goggles, so presumably, like, you know what you're doing. The other thing is, after you do the firmware update, you must reset all in the goggles. If you didn't do that, it can cause all kinds of weird problems. So if you didn't reset all, try that now and see if that helps it fix it. And then try the update after that. Rui Pedro, thank you for €5. Glad to see you back. 2 new Hoda D6 Pro, one gray, one black, both the same firmware, etc. They are the same. I would think that whether the fan spins or not depends on what firmware they're on. The latest firmware for the D6 Pro reinstated the bug where the fan spins all the time. I would suspect the only difference is that they're not on the same firmware. Oh, that's the quickest way to get into timeout, man. You're just being an annoying jerk. Congratulations, I noticed you. Now what? You got me. If you do it again, it's going to be more than a timeout. You want to know the funniest thing? You want to know the funniest thing? You want to know the funniest thing? Do you want to know the funniest thing? Here's the funniest thing. He wants me to review the Tiny Hawk Freestyle. Technically, he said the Tiny Hawk Freestyle too. I reviewed it!
I'm Joshua Bardwell.
I reviewed it! Well, okay, I reviewed the Tiny Hawk Freestyle, not the Freestyle 2. I bet there's not that much difference. It was a long time ago. That's the funniest thing. Phantom FPV, thanks for a $10 super chat, man. Thank you for your generosity and your support, as always. Machine Wise, thank you for a $10 super chat. I'm finishing up some 7075 aluminum freestyle frames. Would love to send you one for some feedback. I don't think that aluminum is a good choice for a frame. I don't think so. I think that carbon fiber has a better strength to weight to stiffness to cost balance. And I'm just not excited about an aluminum frame, to be honest with you. I don't mean to, again, I don't mean to shit on your dreams. It doesn't excite me. Big Data Pimp, thank you for a $5 super chat. The FAA specifically said you register the drone on their Instagram for one of their drone quizzes. So if it's registered under 107, you can't use it for recreational. I absolutely don't think that's true, Big Data Pimp. I'm so sure that's not true. If you have a drone that's registered under 107, you absolutely can decide at the time of flight that the flight is recreational in nature. I guess you would need to have both of your registration numbers on it. I don't know. I don't know what you're seeing in the Instagram, but I don't think that's right. I'm really confident that's not right. So. The thing is, machine-wise, here's the thing. I asked Chris Rosser about this recently. One second, let me find the message. Come on now. I asked Chris Rosser about this recently, and we had this discussion. I want you to know that I'm not just like a hater. I am a hater, but I asked Chris Rosser about this, and I said to him, what about this video? I guess he didn't decide to make this video. Why we use carbon fiber for quadcopter frames, and you can evaluate other materials to sort of empirically show why carbon fiber is the ideal material for quadcopter frames. Bubby has an acrylic frame. It's a joke. There's an all-metal aluminum frame. And he said, this is the answer to that. See, this is why aluminum is worse than carbon fiber. See, this chart proves everything. It proves it. Right? Rosser is not ghosting me, Mike Bergman. I just type fast. I type fast, that's all. I type faster than most people I talk to. So we have metals and alloys here, which have a wide degree of strength to weight ratio and stiffness to weight ratio. And then we have composites, where there's some overlap. But in general, composites can have a better strength to weight and strength to stiffness ratio than metal. And I don't know where in here aluminum is, by the way. The other thing is that to really get the best results, and you're the machinist, so you tell me if I'm off base here, but to really get the best results from something like aluminum requires fairly complex milling. You're not just going to take a sheet of aluminum, cut a shape out of it on a 2D mill, and get good results. But with carbon fiber, you absolutely can do that. So carbon fiber is maybe not the best, maybe tied for the best in terms of strength to weight and strength to stiffness, but it is extremely good and is inexpensive to manufacture. It's inexpensive to work, and it's just really good. So, like all the aluminum frames that I've seen, and I've seen a couple, so not a lot. Actually, one of them was titanium. There was one titanium. It had titanium parts. There was one that was like almost entirely metal titanium, I think. And I've seen at least one other aluminum frame. They're all heavier than a carbon fiber frame. Are they more durable? debatable. I think it's debatable. XPSX, I don't know why your Cetus Pro is buzzing after your firmware update. My guess is you flashed the wrong firmware. I would say if you own a Cetus Pro, don't flash it. You bought a Cetus. I don't want to sound like I'm picking on you, SPSX. You probably had a good reason for wanting to update it. But in general, if you bought a Cetus Pro, you're a total noob. You bought a Cetus because you're a noob. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But then don't try and be like, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to flash this thing. Unless you're willing to accept the risk that you mess it up and it doesn't work anymore. And it's probably fixable. I don't know what you did. But if you've got a Cetus Pro, boy, you should have a good reason before you decide to flash it. Because the whole reason you bought it is you're a noob and you don't know what you're doing and you just want to fly it. So just fly it. That's what I would say. I'm going to guess you flashed the wrong firmware or something. Am I getting the Cetus X for review? No. What is the Cetus X? No, because I don't think Beta FPV wants to send me stuff because I say bad things about them. Cetus X. I mean, yeah. It's probably fine. TW Buckham, thanks for a $5 super chat. I bought the JBF7V2 from Race Day Quads. Is there an ESC that plugs into it without changing pins? Any iFlight ESC should plug in without a pin change. I'm not 100% sure about that. iFlight may have changed their pinout recently. We should be selling it with a ESC though that can be packaged. I think that iFlight is the manufacturer of that ESC, of that flight controller, so I would think that iFlight would plug in to one of those plugs without needing modification. Dave Brewer, thanks for a 10 Canadian dollars. No message, just a donation. Thank you, Dave. The problem is this. iFlight, I think, recently changed their pinout. The JBF7 pinout is based on, I think, the old iFlight ESC pinout, but I think they have changed it, and it may not be compatible anymore. So, let's look at the iFlight Blitz. Their new Blitz, I think, has a different pinout. Hang on. GV1234CT. Okay, let's look at the JBF7. What? He doesn't know the pinout off the top of his head for his own flight controller? GV1234 current telemetry. Okay, yeah, it's compatible. So yeah, iFlight Blitz ESC will work. It should work straight through. Have they got that? Yeah. No, the JBF7V2 still not listed. I think they're trying to sell. How many of the 115. Ooh, that's going to take a minute to sell. That's too bad. They need to mark that shit down and get it moving so we can release the V2. I'm sure Tyler Brennan knows how to run his store. Coelho FPV, thank you for a $10 super chat. Looking for the Chief 5-inch V1 racing arms. I can only find the V2. Any ideas? Coelho, you got to ask Get FPV about that. Contact Get FPV support and ask them, or contact Alex Campbell personally. That's all I can say. Praxis Gamer wants to know, is it okay if I put my cap on my XT30 connector? Yes, but it reduces its effectiveness somewhat. So some people would say it's pointless. I don't think it's pointless, but it does reduce the effectiveness, and it's better if you don't do that. Let's see here. Dave Brewer, thanks for a $10 10 Canadian dollars super chat. I have a 3-inch and a 5-inch drone. I'm getting some motor twitching on takeoff. Is it dirt in my thrust yaw gimbal or a software setting? If it's your gimbal, then do it in a simulator. And if it happens in a simulator, then you know it's a gimbal. That's how you can test that. Anthony, thank you for a $5 super chat. Do you think CNC milling your own carbon fiber frames is cost effective compared to buying carbon frames? No. No. No, 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 no. Definitely not. The thing is, here's the thing. I was about to make an example of 3D printing, but that's a bad example because it is almost always cheaper to 3D print to your own stuff by like a huge margin than to have somebody else 3D print it for you. You'll 3D print something and it'll cost you, you know, $2 in filament that they charge you $12, $13 for to print in a like from Brain 3D or something. But the difference with carbon fiber is that carbon fiber can scale in a way that 3D printing can't. With 3D printing, no matter what, you have one machine that is going to spend 3 hours printing your print. There is no real way to scale that up. You can try to make the machines run faster. You can buy more machines. Like, it scales to some degree. If you have one guy running a farm of 50 machines, it scales a little, but at the end of the day, if you want to print something, it's going to take 2 or 3 or more, or 8 hours or however long. And at the end of the day, you got to pay for that machine time. There's no way to really scale it. Cutting carbon fiber has economies of scale that 3D printing doesn't. You can buy carbon fiber sheet in bulk, and you can run a CNC mill, like a big CNC mill. You can run it and you can cut frames and you can scale that. And so you almost always will be able to get stuff cheaper. Look at the Source One. $25 for a finished frame. I'm willing to bet you could cut it for cheaper than that if you were to do it yourself. But the question is, do you want to buy a CNC mill, and do you want to then get it set up and learn to cut it on your own? Is that the same argument that we make with 3D printing? 3D printers are a pain in the ass to get running. It feels like 3D printers are more versatile than a CNC mill cutting frames, because with a CNC mill cutting frames, you're just cutting your frame. Now, obviously, you can do other things with a CNC mill, but if you're just talking about frames, the question was, is CNC milling your own frames cost effective? I think you're going to have to, I think you're going to have to do a lot of volume before you break even on that, because frames are relatively cheap. But I suppose, I'm talking myself around, I suppose if you did enough volume, eventually you'd break even. The other thing is, and one IFBV, thank you for bringing this up, CNC mills are way more expensive than 3D printers. Like a decent CNC mill, again, I know there are examples out there where you can build your own. That's a whole nother hobby, though. If you want to buy a CNC mill, you're going to spend thousands of dollars. Yeah. The real people who have CNC mills are people who design their own frames and want to cut them themselves without having to go through a factory. But if all you want to do is fly, I think it makes way more sense to buy other frames. Yeah, that's right. Jory points out you're not going to be able to buy bulk carbon fiber sheet. So you're going to be buying carbon fiber sheet in small volumes. That's going to raise prices. If you're interested in getting into CNC milling, if you're interested in getting into frame design, then as a nice side effect of that, you could cut your own frames. So, Wandering Wheelman, thank you for a $5 super chat. My iFlight bag is great. I love it. It's amazing. It's still my favorite bag. Praxis Gamer asks, why does my smoke stopper flash red and beep? I've looked all over my quad with a multimeter. Nothing is wrong. Praxis Gamer, your smoke stopper is lying to you. Smoke stoppers...
Lots of current and... I trusted you. You were supposed to tell me when there was something wrong with my quadcopter. Tell me if it was gonna fry my ESC or fry my motor, fry my flight controller. You were supposed to tell me. And all this time you've been lying to me. I plugged that battery in and you lit up. You told me I'd screwed up. And I went and I tore that quadcopter apart, and there was nothing wrong with it. And I plugged in the battery, and it powered up just fine. There was no smoke. So what I want to know is, why? Why did you do it? Who got to you? I'm gonna show Bardwell. And you're gonna learn something.
The answer to the question is the smoke stopper trips whenever current flows. So if there's a short circuit, it will trip the smoke stopper. But if your motors try to spin or beep or anything that causes current flow is going to trip it. So, thank you, Juan Carlos Ricardo, for a $10 super chat. Appreciate that donation. The coughing's better tonight than it was yesterday, don't you think? I think it is. I think I'm on the mend. Uranium Productions, I don't know if the new DJI O3 Air unit will fit existing frames. I don't know. I think it's pretty close to... I think it's like 25. I don't know the dimensions. Ethan W. really wants my opinion on Beta FPV's product quality. Why, Ethan? Why? What's your motivation, Ethan? What are you getting at? One IFPV, the new O3 Air unit camera is not thick. I haven't seen it, so don't act like I'm spilling any tea, but there's a photo going around Facebook of the O3 Air unit camera installed in a GEP-RC Mark V. I think it's a GEP-RC frame. Maybe it's not the Mark V. I think it's 19 or 20 millimeters, and everybody's freaking out about it being wide, and I think they're wrong. But I don't know that for sure. Mustang Pilot wants to know, should it get a Flywoo GoPro 10 or a Bones 10? Here's the thing, Mustang Pilot. The Flywoo Hero 10 is very cool. Let's put it up on stream. It's very cool because it keeps the front screen. That's really slick. And, I don't know if we can see this, it has a plug for the back screen. So it's like having a naked Hero 10, but with the front screen and keeping access to the back screen. That's very cool. Flywoo. Mwah. Kudos. However, here's the thing. No insurance. $569. $569. No insurance. So, GoPro Hero Bones, you can buy insurance. Now, to be fair, it costs $200 to replace it. But I gotta say, I think a lot of people, the fact that you can get insurance for the Bones and get a new Bones for $200 when you break it is going to sway a lot of people away from the Flywoo. The Flywoo is very cool, but my God, that's a lot of money to spend on such a kludgy product that if when it breaks for any reason, you're effed. Right? Like, how's the voltage regulator on this? Is it solid? Or is it going to fry the board? I don't know. That's a common problem with naked GoPros. Do you trust Flywoo with $569.99 of your money? That's an awfully big credit card swipe. That's up my feeling. Rob Axelson, ranch or blue cheese with hot wings? Blue cheese. Blue cheese, baby. That's my opinion. Ethan W. says, the first quad I bought was Beta FPV, and within the hour, the USB plug broke off. Now I have a Tiny Hawk, and it's fine. Yep. Ethan W. Beta FPV designs good products. Beta FPV has their finger on the pulse of the FPV market. They know what we want, and they make products that look like they're going to give us what we want. But the problem is that their quality is, shall we say, inconsistent. And I say inconsistent because when I found out that Rotor Riot sells the Beta FPV Cetus, they had them for giveaways at Rampage. I think this was even last year. Maybe it was this year. I don't remember. I think it was last year. Not this year, but yeah. And I said, oh, the Beta FPV Cetus, are you guys seeing a lot of returns on that? Because my impression of Beta FPV's build quality is pretty hit or miss. And she was like, nah, it's fine. I was like, well, shoot. There you go. I guess they're doing a good job with the Cetus. But it's just, you just don't know with Beta FPV whether you're going to get a good one. And I feel like that is tough to justify. Isaiah Newman, thank you for a $2 super chat. When flying, it sounds like my ESC resets. If your ESC reset, then you wouldn't be flying. You'd fall out of the air. So you could hear doot doot, but not doot 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 doot, unless it resets and you fall out of the air. Isaiah, I think we need a little more information, I'm afraid. I think we need a little more information. $661 FPV. Don't blame the user for breaking off the USB port. There are so many flight controllers out there with badly soldered USB that breaks off too easily. Any idiot should be able to plug in a USB. If it breaks off, I mean, if you were jamming at it, maybe, but lots of flight controllers have janky USB. Excuse me. Verity asks, I have a Maytech GPS and an Insta360 One X. When I arm and give throttle, it goes berserk and flies off. When I unplug the GPS, it flies fine. I mean, if you have GPS lock, then you should have GPS lock. Does it not do it when you have the when you don't have the Insta360? Try turning off Wi-Fi on the... I don't know. If you're in acro mode, it shouldn't matter. Try... If in acro mode, does it do it, Verity? Huff19 FPV, thank you for a $5 super chat. Care to weigh in on a dedicated analog goggle for racing? I've been eyeballing the Orca 533. If they're in your budget, I think they're one of the best. I prefer the standard one, not the racing edition, although it is nice to save a little bit of money. Riet 9, CPU usage too high with GPS enabled. What's the CPU usage, Riet? What number is it, and what version of Betaflight are you on? Pacific Northwest pilots, what Omnis do you use with the iFlight Crystal patch? The Lumineer Axie. Mostly just because they sent me some, and that's what I have. They're good antennas, but they're not. There are other good antennas out there as well. Do you think the DJI goggles 2 will have AV input? No way to know. Unless you have the goggles, in which case you're under NDA. But I don't. Juan Carlos Ricardo, thanks for another $2 super chat. Appreciate the donation. Flying Sandal wants to know, do capacitors for power filtering affect tuning? Flying Sandal, the answer to that question could be yes. The cleaner the power going to the gyro, then in theory, the more you can push your filters. So we know, you've probably experienced situations where a build didn't have a capacitor, and as you hit the throttle, it made like a tick-tick sound or maybe a warbling sound, and adding a capacitor fixed it. So we know that in some cases, having or not having a capacitor on your power lead affects the gyro data. It's not always true. There are lots of quads that fly without a capacitor and still have plenty clean gyro noise. So there's a range of possible outcomes. If the flight controller is well designed and has good filtering on the gyro power supply, then you might not need one. But you should probably always have one. So yes, I don't think that the capacitor would affect your PIDs, except maybe in as much as if you have cleaner video or cleaner power, you could push your D gains a little farther without freaking out the gyro. So yeah, it can affect tuning, absolutely. Samo FPV says, when I arm my drone, one motor sounds at a different time of the other three. I'm going to guess what you're saying is that when you plug in, the beeps are out of sync. If that happens, drop down from DShot 600 to DShot 300 and it'll probably fix it. But it's probably not a problem that you need to really worry too much about. One IFPV says, my Sky 04X steady view receiver with baby Ratel camera is horrible. I get blackouts and rolling screen. When I change the diversity mode, there's like 3 mix modes and then 1 diversity mode. That's what that setting is for. Your camera and your receiver are just not a good fit for each other, and you're getting this problem. That's what that setting is for. I can't tell you which of those settings is going to be the best. You just have to try it. Okay. Zach Blackstone wants to know my favorite VTX antenna. Very good question, Zach. If only there was a website. A website where I put my favorite products that I recommend to people. And there is. It's fpvknowitall.com. fpvknowitall.com. The home of the ultimate FPV shopping list. And if you want to know about my favorite VTX antenna, we're going to go to... Let's go to 5-inch racing drone parts, antennas. Boom, here we go. There they are. These are the ones I like. And anytime you're wondering what parts would JB recommend, go to fpvknowitall.com and check out the ultimate FPV shopping list. Okay. Dave Brewer says, when I power up both of my drones, I hear the doo-doo-doo sequence twice. Dave, there's two things that could be happening here. One of them is that you could be, your ESCs could just be a little out of sync. So the first one goes doo-doo-doo, and the second one goes doo-doo-doo, and then you would hear doo-doo-doo-doo. That's just out of sync, and that happens sometimes. And there's not really a lot you can do with it about it, and it's not really a problem. If you want to drop down from D-Shut 600 to D-Shut 300, it could help. If you actually hear all the motors go doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo, doo-doo, what I would suggest is that you pinch the motors and you can feel the vibration and confirm that the ESC is really going doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo, doo-doo. And if it's really doing that, it means it has nothing to do with Betaflight, first of all. The first three beeps, the doo-doo-doo, are generated by the ESC as it initializes. Nothing the flight controller does can really affect that. So it means the ESC is rebooting. And I don't know why it would do that. I have seen ESCs that did that and otherwise were perfect. So it's possible your ESC is just like being weird and isn't a problem. But if it's like, I would be a little worried that it might reboot in the air. And then I don't know what I would do about that. Now, if you hear doo-doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo, that's different. That's the flight controller. Sean T, thank you for a $5 super chat. Wish I had something interesting to put here, but I get so much from your content, I think I owe you. Thank you, Sean. Thank you so much. If you are like Sean, and you're just sitting there thinking, my God, I get so much value from Bardwell's content. I know, who would feel that way? I don't know, but some people do. Can I just, hey. Can I let you know I have a Patreon? Patreon's a website where you can subscribe to me for as little as $2 a month or more if you feel like I've earned it. The amount is totally up to you. Whatever you think is proportional to the amount of value you get from my content. If today's the day that you're like, you know what, I've been watching a lot of Bardwell videos. He helped me solve a problem. I'm going to do it. Today's the day. Go ahead and just, boom, join. Once you join up, you will get access to my Discord server. Show them what they're in for, patrons. Show them the GIFs. It's going to take a second. The stream's a little behind. You will also get access to podcasts of my live streams. On patreon.com, podcasts of my live streams. But mostly, you will get to feel good And if you don't feel good, then don't do it. Are you guys happy to be here? I hope so. That's not a good day. That drone operator was not having a good day. Alrighty. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. Patreon.com. If today's the day I earned it, get on over there, sign up. And if I haven't earned it yet, you keep watching the content. I'll keep making the content. Maybe that day will come. Maybe that day will never come. It's all good. No nudes. Now, if you want nudes, you got to go to my OnlyFans. I don't talk about that very much. Angus, thank you for a $5 super chat. Really appreciate your donation. Flight Buds Games wants to know what I think about the Foxier Reaper Extreme 2.5 watt VTX. Foxier Reaper 2. I mean, I think a 2.5 watt VTX. Sign me up. Must pair with good antennas, or you will kill your VTX. Yikes! I guess you better not have a crappy antenna. I would be curious what its output power is. I assume it puts out close to 2.5 watts, and I like power. It's not legal to use on an aircraft in the United States, but I'm sure that doesn't really matter to most people watching this, so I won't harp on it. But yeah. It looks good. There's it's 2.5 watts. Is that the highest? There's the AKK 3 watt VTX, but AKK's build quality is iffy, and it's like humongous. Who else? There's the GEP RC, makes I think a 1.4 watt VTX. Yeah, GEP RC has a 1.4 watt VTX, I think. Obviously not. GEP RC VTX. 1.6 watt. That's, I mean... Foxier Reaper generally is a pretty good product line. That's the other thing. They're oftentimes not really super budget oriented. So it says that maybe Foxier put a little more work into this. The Rush Tank Solo is unofficially 1.6 watts. GV Pilot, I would expect that it would stay cool enough during flight to keep its output power up. The other question is, as Super Deluxe raises, would you rather have a Unify Pro 32 that is so well designed, clean, whatever? Maybe numerically it doesn't put out the same output power as 2.5 watts, but would you actually get better range with like a TBS Unify than a Foxier Reaper? Maybe there's more to it than just raw output power. I don't know. You can't go wrong with a Unify. That 2.5 watts sure does sound appealing though, doesn't it? AKK, Cash Raw, AKK, they make budget stuff. So they can be good, but you're probably going to get better reliability and performance out of stuff like the Foxier, the Rush, or of course the TBS Unify. BW, thank you for a $5 super chat. Just finished Flow State. Thank you so much. We loved watching it. So educational and well done. It really brought my passion back, and I love the coin. That means so much, BW. Thank you so much. Hope you get some flying in. Rodney, thank you for a $10 super chat. Got a challenge coin with my Blu-ray, and my grandson took it. Where can I get another one? They are not easy to get, Rodney. You got to get it back from your grandson. Verdi! Oh my God. Verdi. Is your Patreon community helpful? Last time I joined another Patreon, the community not so helpful, always putting down people. Let me just remind everybody that I help everybody, regardless of if you're a patron, regardless of if you donate. If you send me an email, it's the easiest way to get in touch with me. Send me an email, joshuabardwell@gmail.com. I try to clear my inbox at least once a day, sometimes more, occasionally less. And I try to answer and help everybody who asks me questions. If you decide that you want to join up, though, the Discord server is pretty helpful, and that we have moderators who try to keep the tone very positive. And if anybody gets like kind of pissy or puts people down or anything, we want it to be very welcoming. So, like for example, if we just go to the troubleshooting section. Let's just see what's going on here. So this is just something that was happening at 10 a.m., which was the last time I was in this channel. It looks pretty helpful. This is just a random example of a conversation that was going on this morning. Seems pretty helpful. I hope that people feel that it's very, very helpful and very positive and welcoming and not at all sort of shitty and stuck up and gatekeeping. If anybody did have that experience, I hope that they would notify. I hope a moderator would find out about it and we would do something about it. So. See, we got the moderator channel here for people who are watching out for any troublemakers. Yeah, I think everybody is really helpful. Look here, this dude is looking at log files. Oh my God. Okay. Okay, nominated for KIA. Anyway. Okay, is know-it-all. So on my server, we have people who are tagged as know-it-alls, who are just people who have... If you get noticed being particularly helpful, we punish you by making you a know-it-all. So these guys here are the know-it-alls who are currently online, and they're people who, you know, are knowledgeable and helpful and have agreed to be tagged as such so that people can ask them questions. Because I can't be there all day, every day. And they have their own little channel here where they can talk amongst themselves just to make them feel special. Oh, here's a question specifically for me that I missed. We should get that. Today at 9 p.m. Those tubes go into an LED driver that you put in the bottom of the bag and then plug in a battery to light them up. If you cut them off, you won't be able to use the light pipes ever again, so think carefully about that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Do I have a yearly rate for my Patreon? I do not, Stefan Lockton. I do not have a yearly rate. It's monthly. Is the Zing 2306 motor still a good motor? Yeah, it's a solid motor. All right. We got 15 minutes till the end of the stream. Aaron Ciotti is probably going to be streaming tonight. I assume he is. We're going to keep going for 15 minutes, but if you want to keep streaming, keep enjoying an FPV live stream after I go off the air, Aaron Ciotti will start posting his link to his stream, and you can check that out when I'm done. Yeah. Tiago Monginho. JB, I'm new into drones. I have a Tiny Hawk Freestyle 2, and I'm getting my batteries fat. What am I doing wrong? How can I prevent this? They're 450 milliamp hour 1S packs. Tiago, two things could be wrong. One is you're discharging them too low. Okay? If you discharge them below 3.0 volts per cell, they'll be damaged. So if you just run them all the way down until they're dead, that's why you're killing them. The other is if they're just bad quality batteries, you could just be puffing them because they can't take the usage you're trying to give them. So they need to be good quality batteries. But my guess is you're over discharging them below 3.0 volts per cell, and that's what's killing them. Johnny 5. I saw this question earlier and didn't get to it. Thank you for asking it again. Johnny 5 says, racing is not seeing numbers bounce back yet to pre-pandemic levels. Just over 700 people ran the qualifier this year compared to over 1,000 in 2019. How do we improve this? Johnny, this is an interesting one because I think that spring of 2020 is the busiest I've ever been and some of the best sales numbers I've ever seen. Busiest I've ever been in terms of emails and so forth. And I think what happened was everybody was staying at home and not going to work, and everybody got a check from the government for $1,200. And a lot of people use that to get into FPV. But that didn't really stick, I think. It went down. And I know for a fact that many stores have seen really low numbers in the last year. I think that unwillingness to travel, for reasons which are not important for us to argue about in the chat, for some reason, many people are less willing to travel today than they were in 2019. And that's got to be cutting into the ability to race. What is it going to take to get that back? That's I don't know, man. That's tough. That's a big problem that is bigger than FPV. I definitely think some people are concerned about regulations and it's scaring them off. I've had people ask me, with this remote ID thing, people ask me in generally, the gist of the question is FPV dead? Is FPV dead? And my answer is like, dude, I can't predict the future, but I'm going to keep flying my quad. One way or another, I'm going to keep flying my quad. And if you don't feel that way, if it's a year before individuals will even have to be expected to comply with the law or not. So you got a whole nother year before FPV is dead, if it is, which I'm not saying it is. And you're like, well, I think I'm going to get out. Bye. No hard feelings. See ya. I'm not going to don't. What are you going to do? I mean, you're just not that committed. So, I'm going to keep flying. I know not everybody feels that way, though. For lots of people, excuse me, it's just a hobby. And, if it's not FPV, then they'll go do something else. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just not how I feel about it. What can we do to get the numbers up, Johnny Five? That's a tough one, man. I don't have a simple answer for you there, man. The factors that are driving people out are so much bigger. Things like unwillingness to travel in general. I don't know. I mean, flight numbers are up. I don't know. Maybe people are willing to travel. Things like worries about remote ID or something. What are you going to do about that? So when I look at the things that make FPV grow, the biggest single spike in FPV that I ever saw, I mean, I've seen growth from like down here to up here over the course of 3 years or whatever. But the biggest single spike I saw was in spring of 2020. Which was a time when all kinds of weird shit was going on with the economy and then I got 3 times as many emails as I normally get. Like literally my emails and messages tripled. And I saw this giant spike in my affiliate sales. And I talked to people who have stores and they saw a giant spike in sales. Maybe not the biggest ever, but approaching some of the biggest numbers in the last like 5 or 6 years. It didn't last though. It went right back down again. But my point is, what caused that spike? Big things way out of our control. So John, when you say what could get people into racing, if big things that are out of our control are causing the numbers to go down, what can we do to make them go back up again? I don't know. Maybe we can't. I mean, awareness of the hobby, things like DRL, getting drone racing onto NBC, awareness of the hobby is a big one. Unfortunately, I have to say, another thing that probably is pushing people out is price. Everything in FPV is twice as expensive or more than it used to be. When you could get a flight controller and an ESC for $50, you could go race, and if you blow your ESC, it's not the end of the world. Motors haven't doubled in price, actually. That's interesting. Electronics, though. Now that a flight controller and an ESC is $80 to $140, many people who could have gotten in at the $50 level can't. So, I mean, what can we do about that? I mean, well, I don't know. You know, food is 40%, I'm told. Food is 40% more expensive than it was 2 years ago. Let's just tackle drone racing. I think that there are macro scale issues that are driving this trend, and I don't know if we can solve it without solving those macro scale issues. So, I don't know, John, what do you think? What do you think? I don't have an answer. I'll talk about it for a while, but I don't have an answer. Joseph Dawson, thanks for $2 Canadian. Remote ID enforcement will be 0 and USA only. Joseph, I know you're Canadian because you gave me Canadian dollars. Of course remote ID enforcement will be USA only. It's a law. It's a United States law. It's a United States regulation. There's no misconception here that like remote ID is global. It's US only. You need people who enjoy racing. The other thing about racing is that like most people aren't going to win. You just need people who think it's fun. It is fun. I wonder to what degree racing is down. Now, here's maybe a hopeful note, John. Racing is down, but like Cinewhoops are up. Are a whole lot of people flying? Like, I've seen a lot more interest in 7-inch long range, 3-inch Cinewhoops, Cinelifters even. I've seen a lot more interest in that in the last couple years than there used to be. It used to be most stuff was 5-inch racing and 5-inch freestyle, and then maybe the tiny whoops. I wonder if FPV is diversifying. To some degree, maybe that's true, but I do think that numbers are down. I think that the number of pilots is lower, and the sales are definitely lower. So, yeah. All right, folks, we're 5 minutes from the end of the stream. Is Ciati here? Is he going to be streaming tonight? I don't see him, but I would think he would be streaming tonight. He's here. Yes. Post that link, Ciati. There we go. Alex Delisa, thank you for a $5 super chat. I'm not sure if I missed it, but let's make sure that I didn't miss it. Oh, man. Be polite, you guys. We don't need to make fun of any countries. Or anything like that. Quad Doc says, racing is a great way to sap all the fun out of the hobby. Yeah, racers have a different idea of what's fun. The thing is, like, here's the thing. I like racing. You know, when we went to the FPV park in Oregon, the Rotoride episode came out today. He had these little mini ATVs, and they were so fun to ride. Just powerful enough that you feel like you're having a good time, but not so big and powerful that you think you're going to kill yourself. And the first thing I did was I started zipping around a little track through the trees that I made up for myself. I just liked racing. I liked trying to go fast around a course. I didn't have to be racing against anybody, and I certainly didn't have a timer or anything. Racing has to be fun on its own, because most people who race won't win. And obviously, everybody who races wants to win and wants to do well. But at the end of the day, you just got to enjoy racing for the sake of it. Otherwise, you know, if you don't, I don't know. I think you're going to be sad a lot, because most people who race aren't going to win. Pacific Northwest Pilots wants to know, what's the secret to being yourself on camera? Practice. Practice. I mean, you could take a public speaking course, right? There are things... when I got into YouTube, I had already been a classroom instructor, so I had formal training in public speaking and a lot of practice in public speaking. Talking to a camera is not the same as talking to a group of people in real life, but there are some overlaps into what makes one thing good. If you go back to my... Oh, I can't sort this damn thing. Can I sort by date? If you go back to some of my earliest videos, I'm not as comfortable on camera as I am today. So to some degree, it's practice. Hang on, I'm trying to find a video. We have to get past like 200 videos of my children that I posted to my YouTube channel before before I started posting FPV videos. Where's the first FPV video where I put my face on camera? There's no face on this one. A talk, though. So in this log, the main question is, how can we smooth out the flight? I've looked at the video a little bit, and let's just take a look at the video and see if we can find some examples of the kind of smoothness that we're talking about. The first thing I am going to check, and I'm going to stop doing this with every single one, because I think... Yeah, so it's not bad. But I think it's just practice. You can just talk to yourself in the mirror, or you can just set up a camera and record yourself until you start to get comfortable with it. That's I guess what I would say. If you want one exercise, oh my God, it's 10 o'clock. I'm running over. If you want an exercise, excuse me. So here's what I would say. Pick a topic that you know a lot about. Even if it's just your work. Like get a camera and talk about that topic to the camera as if it was another person who you were explaining it to. You can imagine that the camera is another person. That might help, but it's mostly just practice and getting over that uncomfortableness of talking in an empty room. And it just takes time. Anyway, thank you guys for coming out. I'm going to wrap up and let Siati get on with his stream. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the FPV news and throughout the week. Yeah, Super Deluxe, that's the great thing about video is that you don't have to see the audience looking back at you. So you don't have to imagine them naked. So that's nice. But you also get no feedback in terms of direct emotional sort of, you're just talking to yourself in an empty room with a chat coming up. I don't know. Anyway, hopefully tomorrow there will be less coughing. Have a good night, everybody, and have a great stream, Siati. Bye-bye, everybody.